What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So I promised you another video of all the stuff that did happen this week. Of course, a lot of stuff, pretty big stuff happened today, so I'll get into that real quick. Start off with USC getting a 4-star cornerback commit from a local guy at Los Alamitos in Los Angeles, and his name is Isaiah Rubin. And as always, as he said in a comment after committing to USC, that they were always a dream school. I believe he had Utah, Oregon, and Colorado as the final four. Even in his final boxes that he was opening up, Utah wasn't even there, so that was nice. A bit more positivity trending towards the local school. But yes, luckily we did beat out not only competition in the Pac-12 this season, but also future competition when USC has to play against Oregon in the Big Ten as well in the near future. So nice to be able to get a defensive player away from them. And even though he's like a 4-star, some people think of him as a 3-star, but I think he's officially a 4-star and very talented. And like I said, got to get some of these local guys to commit to you, and luckily they're able to get Isaiah Rubin to do that today. So congrats. And then, yeah, some pretty big news happened a few hours after that for Duke basketball and their head coach Jon Scheyer, where he apparently signed a 6-year extension on his contract, which is going to take him all the way to, I think it's the 2028 and 2029 season. So that's pretty cool. I always thought he had like a 4 or 5 year contract anyways, but maybe not, because he's already going into his second year, and plus the 6, or actually minus 6 from 29. So that would have probably brought you down to 23. So was it only like a 2 or 3 year deal, which is pretty weird for a new coach, but I guess he's earned it. Definitely gives a lot more stability, at least from the coaching standpoint, to know that he will be there and not looking for any jobs in the NBA or anything like that. So a lot of these top prospects can end up choosing Duke as well, and they've already been doing that anyways. So that's pretty good to see either way. But yeah, speaking of Duke, they did get a slot at number 2 in the new AP poll that was recently released, the first one. So that's pretty cool. Definitely very well deserved because of how much talent is returning, and those 4 freshmen alone, I think even if they were just the starters, I think Duke would have a pretty good shot this year. And most of those guys are going to be coming off the bench as well this season. So I think Duke definitely has one of the best situations in college basketball this season. So definitely have a lot of high hopes for them, even if I wasn't a Duke fan as well. But they also did have their countdown to craziness tonight, where they basically scrimmage against each other for like 15-20 minutes, and then kind of have like long intros of all the classes and stuff of all the players, and they play songs, whatever, and do some dumb dancing and all that stuff. It's pretty fun to watch, but there are a couple of nice plays in there to see. A lot of the more talented returning guys were a bit better in that game. It wasn't that surprising, but a big time recruit, Cooper Flagg, the number 1 player in the class of 2024, was on campus as well. So that's pretty good news, especially when he had just visited UConn before their countdown to craziness, or whatever it is, when the season is about to start, and he did for Duke. So that's pretty good standing, and a lot of other talented players were there as well in his class and beyond also. So definitely looking forward to seeing a lot of those guys on the team as well at some point in the near future. And then some big news about Joey Bosa, and kind of like why he hasn't really been in the rotation and been playing that much the past couple of games. Apparently they found out that week 3 against Minnesota, I believe it was, he broke a toe. It's one of his big toes. Pretty crazy. And I guess it was like a fracture, and he's been pretty much trying to get through it. He did say himself that it's something he has to manage, but he will somehow be able to play with it, which is pretty crazy. But he had like a little bit of limited practice this week. It's also for the Chargers, so I doubt he is going to get some playing time this weekend against the Chiefs, but it's definitely looking and heading in the right direction for him to hopefully come back from that pretty big, serious injury. He's had some foot stuff in the past as well, so hopefully this is just something he can manage, wrap up, and deal with it at the end of the game. There are two pretty talented guys I wanted to talk about that might be and might not be under USC's recruiting radar right at this point. So I believe his name is Riley Pettijohn. He's one of the top 3 linebackers in the class of 2025. He recently put USC in his top 12. That's pretty cool going into the next recruiting cycle. At least they have some momentum with him, especially a guy on defense. So that's really good to see. And then there is this guy, I wanted to get his name correct, Owen Long. He's a local Los Angeles player. He's considered an athlete in the class of 2024, and I believe he plays running back / receiver, and mostly on as a middle linebacker. And I think his future is probably as a middle linebacker because he does have some very nice speed as a running back and receiver at times. But if he's going to get to the next level, I think playing a linebacker is best, because if he's a linebacker with that speed, I think he could be really dominant under the right coaching, in my opinion. And sadly, he has a 4.4 GPA, one of the top local guys. He's somehow only a 3-star. And usually when you're an athlete and you play multiple positions, you kind of get a little bit of an extra bump up because they see how versatile you can be. But for some reason, he isn't getting a lot of looks, and he's gotten, some places like Army and Air Force. I think Columbia has even recruited him and offered, even teams like Idaho and Washington State. Washington State is pretty much the one Power 5 that has offered him, and I'm surprised that for a local guy who is as talented as he is, and especially at a position at linebacker that USC will need to fill up at some point in the near future. I don't know how they haven't even recruited him or looked at him at all, even a little offer either. So I'm very surprised at that. I hope he doesn't go somewhere else, but I think he definitely is a very talented player that USC needs to get ahead on, because someone's going to scoop him up and he's going to be a really good player, in my opinion. Remember that name, Owen Long. Owen Long. And yeah, speaking of Duke and their recruiting, they did get a defensive tackle recently, a 3-star guy in Ryan Daly, or Daly. Haven't heard it said yet, but he is one of the talented guys out there on the defensive line, so that's a pretty nice to get for Coach Mike Elko out there at Duke, especially on the defensive side. So congrats to them. And I believe their 2024 quarterback who's coming in this next season is Tyler Cherry, and he was recently a 3-star quarterback. But I told you, he's going to be very talented in his senior year and has an ability to get up to that 4-star status, and it looks like he did. He made a pretty big jump in the overall rankings and did earn that 4-star as well. So that's pretty cool for them. It's going to bump up Duke's recruiting position out there, and not only him as a quarterback too, he's going to jump up the ranks in the quarterbacks in that class also. So definitely very excited for this guy coming to Duke in the near future. And Duke's head coach Mike Elko recently said that Riley Leonard, the injured quarterback for Duke, does have a good chance to play this weekend against Florida State. So definitely looking forward to seeing if he could come back for a big time game, especially now that it's moved from the ACC network to prime time on ABC. So everybody's going to be able to watch this game, and it's, Florida State's the 3rd-ranked team in the country. So definitely looking forward to seeing if Riley Leonard plays, and if not, it will be a tough game for Duke. But either way, definitely looking forward to that. And then PFF recently put out their highest graded cornerbacks this season, throughout the whole entire season so far. And the cornerback for Duke, Miles Jones, is ranked number 1 at 90.7, which is pretty cool because I think he transferred. I think he might have transferred from Texas A&M, where Coach Mike Elko was. I could be wrong, but I believe he is a transfer, and he was a very talented player somewhere else. But he's just showing how good he is, and probably could get drafted in the first couple of rounds. So that's pretty cool for them moving forward. And then, yeah, Duke, recently their stats on defense are pretty good, especially after that game last week where they only allowed 3 points to NC State. And I think when they're in the ACC rankings, they're number 1 on defense in a lot of those top categories. But when it comes to the like rank throughout all the whole nation. They're like number 2, number 4, and number 4. And I believe those are in like red zone defense, points per game, and the passing yards per game as well allowed. So yeah, they're definitely stepping up, and definitely one of the top reasons why this team is winning so far early this year. And like I said, as long as Riley Leonard is confident and comes back and is healthy, then they definitely have a chance to upset Florida State, in my opinion. And the other day I did mention the USC guys on the CBS Sports preseason All-Americans, and Duke did have a couple, as I mentioned. Kyle Filipowski, the returning sophomore, is on the first team, so obviously he's one of their best players, and then Tyrese Proctor, one of their best players returning as well, is on the third team. I think he probably should have been second, but those guys at USC are pretty talented, so I guess that's why he got pushed down in that guard area. But either way, definitely looking forward to seeing what those guys could bring to the team overall. And then when it comes to, yes, CBS Sports, once again, predicting that Isaiah Collier, the USC incoming freshman at point guard, will be the freshman of the year in all of college, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it's been a while since a guy at USC was preseason to win that honor, so definitely looking to see if he can live up to that hype or not. And then when it came to the Chargers, yes, they did make a small addition to their team, adding safety Jalen Hawkins and putting Raheem Lane, who tore his ACL, I believe, in that Cowboys game, on IR. So that's pretty much why they signed someone else at that position. But then, of course, after today's practice, or during today's practice, Hawkins was seen carted off, but it wasn't due to an injury, it was due to an illness. So I don't know exactly what that is, and I might have heard the coach say that he was dehydrated. I could be wrong, but either way, hoping it's just that. Needs a couple of IVs and should be good to go for this game, because they definitely need some help at that depth position at the safety spot. And the Anaheim Ducks the other day, right before the season, claimed left winger Ross Johnston. That's pretty cool to add some depth and a veteran guy to the team, but they did start off the season with the loss to Vegas. I believe it was 4-1. They did get the next win against Carolina. I forget if that was at home or not. 6-3, so that was nice, but then I believe they did lose yesterday to Dallas 3-2 in the final seconds, but luckily their first round pick rookie Leo Carlson did score his first NHL goal, so that's pretty cool for him. Hopefully that gives him some momentum going for the rest of the season. But yeah, tough loss, but definitely nice to see the young guys stepping up as of right now. A couple of miscellaneous things to end this video off. Gen V, which is a spin-off show of that Amazon Prime show The Boys, is getting renewed for a second season, which is pretty cool, because we're right now, I think, 6 episodes in, probably a couple more left, and it's been one of the best shows so far right now, streaming and on TV, as they say. But yeah, definitely watch it if you can handle like a bit of bloody, gory, and superhero-ish stuff. And you know, it's pretty crazy what ends up happening, storyline and stuff, but if you can handle it, it's definitely a good watch for you. And then the other day this week, I believe it was Sum 41's 19-year anniversary of their album Chuck, which is pretty crazy, because I remember right before that, the reason why they called it Chuck is because a military person, I want to say from South Africa, or maybe it was from Canada, I could be wrong, but they were down out there in Africa to help be able to do some stuff out there charity-wise and helping the people out there. But then they got ambushed, because obviously there's always been a civil war down there, which sucks, and luckily the band and everybody else was able to get out of there without being harmed. But they definitely, you know, gave some credit to the guy who led the way, and his name was Chuck, so that's pretty cool for him to get that recognition. And then yes, today or last night when I was listening to it, Blink-182's new album One More Time came out. 17 songs, I guess like maybe 15 and a half, because 2 songs are pretty short. They're like less than 30 seconds. They're like their joke type songs, and then also another song is like an interlude, so it's only like a minute and a half long and nothing really to it. But yeah, there's a lot of good songs, especially on there that they had already released as lyric videos or music videos. But one of those songs later in the record is called Turpentine, which I really like. Terrified is a really good one, and Blink Wave It's another good one as well. Terrified or Terrifier. I think it was actually a Boxcar Racer song that they never really were able to make for that record, but they brought it back for this one and gave it the Blink-182 polish, and it's pretty darn good. The first thing I thought of was Boxcar Racer, and of course, that's exactly where it came from. But yeah, Turpentine, I don't even know what that means, but it's one of the best songs on there in my opinion. I got it stuck in my head already. So yes, give it a check out if you're into that type of music. Blink-182, one more time. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Good luck to my Trojans on Saturday. Fight on. And I guess good luck to the Chargers because you're going to need it against the Chiefs on Sunday.